I will give you that one link that you need. Here you are. That is ongoing, continuous record of what we did. The link is right here. We just need to remove that window that covers the tab. Okay, back to chat. Okay, San Jose. Very nice. Here you are. That's the link. It's a public link. You can see what we did, and it goes from whatever it is today, it's at the top. So you don't have to go too far. But out of curiosity, if we go and find out where, let's say here, when did we start? That's what I want to see. We started, wow, it's even 22, not even 23. So what kind of a little bit more than a year. Wonderful. And what we do, and especially for the new people who are new here, we discuss some of the new things. This time we'll be looking at Amazon Bedrock. And in this, I'm usually prompted by Andrew Ng courses. So I get them, I'll try them. I will try to make a copy. I'll show you how I make a copy. Because all these courses, they work in place. All these labs, they work right there and not into a setup. But the minute you bring it into your environment, then of course things break, and that's where you want it. You don't want a canned course that somebody else shows to you, at least not as a second step. Okay, that's what we do. In other words, that discussion that we usually have here is to try whatever people say. That's what they do, and we'll discuss that is true or that is not true. And then I will, for fun, I will give you a few questions and suggest that we discuss how would you solve these AI problems. Okay, with that we can start. So there was a course published by Andrew Ng together with somebody else. Now this time it was published together with Amazon, a person from Amazon, and it's about Bedrock. So before we go into the course itself, let's see what is this Bedrock. So if I'm clicking here, right, then I'm getting to the official Amazon page, which it is here. And we really want to know what is the story, what is the context, who is against whom, what is it better than, what is it worse than. And we read that it is a way to make your ChatGPT applications, but on Amazon. So that's what we do. We create kinds of AI applications. I said ChatGPT. It turns out it's not on ChatGPT, but on other models. So everything here is political. Everything here is, we have to watch for the language. Let's do that. It's not that much, but let's see if my understanding agrees with yours. So what is this Bedrock? It is a fully managed service that offers a choice of high-performing foundation models. That's a loaded statement. First of all, it's a managed service. We'll have to pay for that. That's the biggest intent. Then you have a choice of kind of ChatGPT models. Everybody talks about, oh, I'm using a different model. And to make that sound official, they call it foundation model, FM. That's a new term. People like to call them LLM, large language model. But a new term, competing term, and that depends upon who wins first. For example, Amazon did win with their term of cloud, even though it was Oracle who tried to reclaim the term cloud. But at least in the beginning, Amazon was first. So I understand they want to give it a different name. If I can rename my enemies good things, then maybe I'm also successful. And Amazon, I think, is going to be the biggest company maybe in the world sometime soon, or Jeff Bezos will be the richest person. So, okay, they're trying to do this. So he is telling us that we will be able to build on top of his infrastructure and we will be able to use a choice of models. Let's look at which models. So AI 21 Labs, which I personally never heard about, Anthropic, which of course I did hear about, that's the closest competitor to OpenAI. Here, Meta, that's the famous Llama, which you can do yourself. You don't need Amazon for that. But isn't it nice that they will put it on the cloud? Okay, Stability AI and Amazon. What is Amazon? That is their own model. Which model is their own? I forget, I think it's Q, something like that. Now I understand. That's Amazon's response to ChatGPT. And they give you first a choice of models. That's not a big deal, right? A drop down. But I think the bigger deal is here. What's their claim to fame is that they implement fine-tuning and retrieval augmented generation, the popular term RAG, that it is best practices, serverless, and that it is, look here, that is any infrastructure and securely integrate and deploy capabilities into your application. So we're talking about enterprise, we're talking about making money. It is not for fun. ChatGPT is for fun. And securely. I saw a statistic somewhere that 25% of all companies in the world so far have forbidden to use ChatGPT. Outright forbidden. And I'm teaching at one such company, and they're very, very nervous about even mentioning ChatGPT. When I teach, I get this little message that here's what you cannot do, and don't use that. Instead, send the employees to our internal don't do it side. Well, how do they resolve that? That's how they resolve it. After all, I think it's not reasonable. Even the biggest honcho will understand that he doesn't want to shoot his company in the foot and that he wants to use it. Can't ignore it. It's like, let's not use electricity. So it has to be secure. And in that example, when I taught at this company last, and that was this Tuesday and Wednesday. So one of the people in the group was exactly the one technical guy who worked it out with the legal department, and they go through Microsoft. But can Amazon tolerate that? No, they show Amazon Bedrock, and moreover, they publish a course. So that course was published also something like Monday. So if you have any questions with all that overview, I'll look at them. Mark, foundation model can apply an LLM trained on a specific corpus rather than any kind of talk. Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. So you're saying it's not so much a marketing ploy by Amazon, but it's a different term, right? Okay, I agree. I don't insist that it would be just only marketing. That's a valid thing. And Amazon does all of that. They allow you to train your models, but their claim to fame is not that we allow you to train your models. That, of course, they don't have to even allow. That it is secure and that you can work it out with the legal department of your company, that they will trust Amazon. And even though ChatGPT publishes their promise, they will not steal your data. Well, still, when Amazon publishes that feels better, and now the legal department can agree. Well, now let's go. Let's do it. Let's go back to our outline and let us look at the course. Then let's look at the labs and see how they really work. So the course is right here. And I'm not going to let them talk. Good guys, but let them stay here on the screen. First of all these courses are free. I have published because you kept asking. I have published that learning path. I call it learning path. That's what I say is the learning path of the people on my team. Right now, my team is not very large, and then the people on the team don't want to learn it. But in any case, that's the secret how. I believe that every one of these courses is important and just the right thing. And I have put that right here as the course number 30. Look, it's all doable, and besides, it's all free. So that's my official spreadsheet. But beyond that, I'm giving away my secret because that's the company I run, and people ask to train them in GPT or other things, and essentially I go there, go right here, create a course out of that. So what's the trainer compared to ChatGPT trainer or compared to anything else? Well, he's like a babysitter, right? He watches your students that they don't run wild and goes through, in that case, well, essentially free course, but he's able to answer questions. He makes sure that the labs work, and that's some work, and he makes sure that nobody's distracted too much. That's, I think, the dirty secret of trading. It still works this way. People feel much more comfortable paying good amount of money and then telling their employees that, look, that's the 2 days that you have this course. I got a trainer for you. I don't know if you would agree to that, but I told you the honest truth. Now, here is the chat. Let's see if anybody says anything. Okay, everybody says that it is a foundation model, not just Amazon, but Amazon chose to use this term as opposed to other terms potentially. But I would say, let's not, you're right, I agree, but let's not discuss this terminology because it's just, I'm reading into the marketing literature, I'm reading the intent into that. I wouldn't insist to it. What we want to do, though, is look at the course, how it's formulated. So all these courses are free. I don't have any one that's not free, and not because I either like or dislike free. It is because you can pay, right? I think I have a subscription to deep learning, but that's one subscription covers everything. I'm not sure if it's because of subscription. I probably can do without, or I can establish a new free subscription. So all of these courses are this. First of all, they are brought by Andrew Ng, and they are completely implemented by a person on the right of Andrew Ng on our left. There are the chapters. Each chapter comes, let's go. Each chapter comes with two things. That's how nice pictures look when you make a snapshot. There is a Jupyter notebook, right? So we can even hide it like this, and then the person goes away and you don't see him at all. You can pretend that is your teaching notebook. It also takes some time to load, usually a minute or two. The reason it does is because Amazon is behind. So it makes it slow. The usual notebooks are loaded just right away, and then we can run. That's what we're going to do. Then I will also show you how I brought it into my environment and what problems I had. And what we want to know is all over, what is it doing? Okay, so the answer, what it's doing is what everybody's doing. It is allowing to talk to an LLM and get your answers. That's the very first, they call generations. I have no idea, honestly, why they call it your first generations with Amazon. I would call it your first lab with Amazon Bedrock, but again, I haven't investigated. It works. You start working it, And before, let's at least make a few steps. It works on the environment. What is hidden from us right now? Well, I said it works, but maybe it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't quite. Let's see. Maybe it says don't hide me. Don't like it. Okay, maybe it says it. So if you want to bring it down to your computer, pay attention to those requirements, and you don't see them here, right? So in order to see them, you need to do this. You say File, and you say Open here, and that brings you to all those hidden files. But they're honestly telling you that's the story, and you see there's a lot of additional stuff. So if you try to figure it out on your own, it would be troublesome. Now, that is a directory, and it also has a little additional files. In the next labs, it will have much more. So keep in mind when you're doing this, that is a directory with additional files. In some directories, some labs, I saw up to 4. And that's the Python notebook itself. So let's try to download it, right? We can now download it. Where was it that you could download it? There was a button. Maybe that is... no, but I was able to find this button. I was able to download it from there. So that's where you get them. Let's go back. Now, what's the whole thing is about, and what is that particular lab is about? Well, the whole thing is about your little pizza selling bots or anything else you would like to implement. They have also thrown in audio file. They will allow you transcription, and that transcription will be then summarized using AI. So you get that. That's pretty much out of the box functionality that anybody can have. How do you enable login? That's really pretty important, because we have this problem. When you log, it usually goes to the local file. And there is no local file here because you run it on Lambda, and Lambda runs on who knows what server. So therefore, enable login is an important question, and you enable the login that then goes to Amazon storage, S3. That's something that you need to do. When you do it, then all your login goes to Amazon, and that's not what you want. So what you do is you put a little conditional code. You're saying, if I'm really on Amazon, then it should go to Amazon. If I'm not, then localhost is just as good. That's enable login. Then finally, you deploy it to AWS Lambda. If you guys have not deployed this, you see that's where it's very cumbersome, I would say, compared to just putting it on your virtual machine. In my code, I had that. I'll show you since we're real and showing it here. So right here, that's my development. You can see that. And Lambda is right here. So when I have to deploy to Lambda, what I do is I have the requirements for that particular one, because every Lambda lives on its own. So my requirements for just that one function are listed right here. In addition, there is the Lambda function. So that Lambda function must have something that Amazon expects. It's a Lambda handler. Okay, it's a boilerplate. You copy paste it. It has to be in your code. The rest is your real code. That's what you are deploying. And then you package and deploy it. What I do is that's my package. So I zip it up because that's a requirement, and I put it into a bucket into a bucket. It's a temporary deployment. Then later on in your Amazon dashboard, you will say deploy it from that one. So all of my package scripts put it into that bucket. So you see that before you run it, you have to do a few tricks. And therefore, it's not a convenient way to develop. It's a convenient way to deploy, maybe. So I wanted to show you, to warn you, don't rush into that. It is nice, but we actually give up on that in our development. Instead, we use some other, still on Amazon, still containers, but not necessarily Lambda. In other words, give it some thought before you rush into Lambda development. That is what I wanted to tell you here, because practically is not the same as theoretically. Now, that will show you how to do it, so let's run a little bit more. That works because they have already installed Boto 3, which is the library that Amazon gives you, and with that you talk to Amazon system. So that has already been done. So in your environment, you will say pip install Boto 3, like that. And it will tell you it's already installed or I'm installing now. Now, it seems like it did install now. That's what you will do in your environment, but they have prepared it for you. That's why this works. And then you create a runtime. And now you're in the familiar area. Usually you prepare a prompt for a model. But now, since you're going to deploy it on Amazon, you give it the permissions and your model permissions. That is what is specific to Amazon. So you have your phrase, you have a way to talk to Amazon, and now you can actually tell it something and it will come back. Now that will break for you if you deploy it in your environment, because they have access to Amazon right here, and you most likely don't. So you will set up the access and have it. And now let's see the response body. That's the way to print that response body. And what did we ask for? We said, write a one-sentence summary of Las Vegas. Here it is, a one-sentence summary. A resort city in Nevada known for its luxurious casinos, hotels, and entertainment shows, plus some additional information. So you would have to parse JSON. That is why, right here, they import JSON, because that's what you're going to use in order to parse out the response. I think a natural desire of everyone dealing with this is just give me the answer, and I don't want to parse JSON. And that was my own personal reaction. But after all, you realize that it's getting more and more complex, and there is no easy way to just give you the answer. Maybe go back and reconsider and actually parse the JSON, find out what you need and get that. That is pretty much it. We can continue running it, but it's just more exercises of the same sort. For example, here, where I say download that file and convert it to text. And after that, summarize what it was talking about. So that's quite magical when you can do it. And that's what our lawyers love when we give it to them here in the Casify application. That's the Casify application, and you can have transcriptions here. So that's all PDF, and you can ask about PDF, but somewhere there must be an MP4. So we transcoded, meaning that it wasn't that format initially. We transcribed it, and therefore you can listen to that. I'm not really going to do it because that's a police camera recording, mostly dull, nothing. Okay, but also it's the transcription is here. So what we did is just made it convenient for the lawyers. Nothing out of the ordinary if you compare it to what Amazon did. And that's what they did. That's how you do it. Now, what else? What else is there in this Amazon Bedrock? Well, as I mentioned, you can now summarize the audio file, and that in fact is right here. What is the code to summarize it? Just call it an audio, transcribe it, read it, and you can summarize it. Where do we summarize it? I think we use the same prompt, and the prompt said, please summarize what it says there. And if it wasn't the same, it is that now. So I could even print dialog text. So I'm not going to go into more details because we understand basically how it works. Well, that lab, then you take it into your environment. So you create your environment, and I have it in OpenAI Labs here. So that's the same labs. I did the save as. There were some gotchas. Not everything worked perfect. And first of all, downloading worked for 4 out of 5. But number 5, and I tried it quite a few times, just wouldn't. So instead of finding out why, you can go and copy paste each individual cell. In the end, you will have to have it on your own. So that's where it is. That's my run of the same. I did import both 3 and JSON. I did the point to US West, but when it came to the real execution, that didn't work. Access denied. That's because you need permissions that you need to set on Amazon. They have them. They have those permissions because they have a canned demonstration. So I will have to set it. And then finally, when you do it practically, you'll have to do this. And I probably have it here. No, that's another one. Okay, I go to my labs. It is the same OpenAI labs right here, so I go there. I also have a special Python environment that's called OpenAI. In other words, when you say conda environment, I think it's minus list or just list. Let's see, maybe just list. These are all the environments that I have, and one of them is OpenAI right here. So what I need to do is say conda activate OpenAI. That's what it was already there. And then you need to run Jupyter. Lab. Okay, then that comes as a Jupyter lab. And that's yet one more step compared to what I just showed you. So first I showed how it works for them right here. Then I showed you that same thing, but on GitHub. You see it as a GitHub. And then finally, that's a real lab. And I can prove to you that that also works. That also works, but I don't have a permission to access the model in this area. So if I ask for it right here, it will refuse. So, but that is real life. And summarize is also real. So if you start it, it's good enough, and it will even play. Surprisingly enough, it will play. To show you that it does play, I will stop sharing and share again. But this time I click on share sound. And just that amount of code, audio object with the file name, has to work. Now, that file has to be there because I'm giving it a local path, and it is there. So therefore I can run.
Hi, is this the Crystal Heights Hotel in Singapore?
Okay. So here you are, and it will even run if you stop the lab here, because that's an independent player. And then you will have to stop it by clicking here. So all this magic is available for free, download and run. In my case, if I then want to connect, then it will crash on the bucket. So maybe I'll do all of that and show how it really works for me. And then we will be able to experiment. Whatever you will suggest, we can change that. That is pretty much it. So what I'm going to do is this. I will stop the share. Okay. And I will open my chat here, talking to everyone. And I will shut up for a little while so that you can ask your questions. There you are. Hey, usually after a minute, people get bored of silence and they start asking questions. I have a lot to learn, says James. That is true. And we'll review that learning next time. I think it makes sense. What I showed you was an introduction. That is how you look at the course that you're taking in general. What does it mean? And then I said, that is how you run it from the environment and it works. And then that is how you bring it into your environment and then it doesn't work. So the next step would be probably to actually finish this up, bring it into your local environment. And now we have questions. How do we do the Bedrock Lab? Do we pay for our own credits? No, it is all free. If you run it in their environment, then it is all free. I mean, if you run it in the, what is this? DLAR, Learning Platform Beta. So that would not be payable. If you want to bring it into your own environment and talk to your own Amazon, then you would have to spend money. And I can report to you how much I will spend on running that lab, but I know that it will be really cents, very minor expense, because they you are paying only for the resources. So I think there are like 1 cent for 1,000 calls to Lambda. That this kind of payments. When you run AWS Bedrock, do you use Cloud9 for the LLM? Cloud9 is a complete environment that it is like IntelliJ, the one that you showed, like this, or it is like PyCharm, like that. But it runs on a virtual machine in Amazon, right? And therefore, when you run Cloud9, you can run from there. So it wouldn't matter if you run from your own IDE or if you run from the Cloud9, but it will work. So that would be one way. But then Cloud9 comes with its own problems. You have to pay for it. It has to run on a virtual machine. It stops itself, goes to sleep after half an hour. That's nice. But it also may have some glitches as is normal. That's not your environment, it's the environment. That's what Al wanted to know. And I hope I answered your question. Or at least I was answering your question, not another one. Now, Olivia says, I'm currently a senior in college studying management information systems. I want to get my master's in that data science. How important do you think learning this information is for me on the path that I'm taking? I have to tell you the joke that, good joke, from the mathematician, the best mathematician of the world, you can call him that, at this time in England. He wrote a little book called Mathematical Miscellany. And in that book, he says, one PhD candidate asked, is it necessary to read all the references? And the answer was, Littlewood answered, no, it is not necessary to read any of the references. But then as a pure mathematician, he continued and he said, but it is also not sufficient. So nothing is necessary in learning that. You might be able to get around without it. Nothing is sufficient either. I would just say that probably a lot of learning is better than a little learning. Now, in saying that, I contradict what King Solomon said, who said there is a lot of pain in learning. But if we put that aside, then my advice would be that particular thing is quite useful. Just don't start with that. It is not the first. But you, I think, would be expected to be comfortable there. That's what you need. And for that, I would recommend, so let's go back to share the screen. Here you are. And that is a collection of the courses that I showed, guys. So these first two courses is what I would take. That will make you more or less comfortable when people talk about LLMs around you. And they are not hard. So especially that one. That's one longer. It's for everyone, but it's about a week maybe to complete. 2 hours a day, that kind of thing. And that's probably a few hours that you can master the whole thing. They all work. They all work in their environment, so they made it really easy. That was your question, right? Going back to chat. Okay, so Olivia, hope I was answering your question. Paul asks, by their environment, do you mean via Coursera? Yes, that's what I mean. Coursera, or I don't understand, is that Coursera or is it whatever it is, deeplearning.ai? I think it's the same owners, but I'm not sure exactly. It's either or. It's either Coursera or it's deeplearning.ai. Cloud9, is there a small VM instance that has the permissions? Yes, it has the permissions. It's just that sometimes you discover that some things may still be missing. But in general, yes, that's a very convenient thing. I'm not saying it's anything bad. I'm saying that when you run it on your own computer, it has its own advantages too. I need to download the AWS keys to run on my system. That is true, and that's why this environment Cloud9 is better because it has those keys, but let's say IntelliJ, that is a brilliant idea. Many people pay for that, which tells you, yes, it's good. That is very, very good questions, guys. Thank you very much for asking them. Now I'll give you some fun exercise. Let's go back. Let's close all of that. It's too many things. And in here, I have a list of questions. The list of questions is only 3 questions. It says Q&A, rather questions and attempted answers. And if you click there, you will find the actual questions and answers. The way I came to these 3 questions is somebody was saying, can you teach me that? And when I tried to tell them that, yes, I can for a price kind of thing, they said, no, we don't mean that. We just mean give us an answer. And I found them quite deep. So then they backtracked and they said, we didn't really mean these questions. We meant similar to that. That's not our real work. Nevertheless, I found the questions to be quite interesting and I attempted some answers. Okay, so that's what I'm going to open for you. All right, and opening that. Here you are, and it opened here, but I really want to go full screen. I think like that will go full screen. Now, these are the questions. Well, and honestly saying that's my suggested answers. So we have fun, and that's why I separated them. The answers are on the next page. You can cheat and open it, but that's no fun. Not because cheating is wrong. I feel it's very right. ChatGPT is doing this all the time, but because who knows if my answers are good. That's why let's read the question, let's think through the answer, and then you might look at the answer. All right, question number 1. Imagine we're driving a car and we wanted to embed a computer in the car to detect when the engine was about to brake. That sounds awesome, right? If you are, let's say, Toyota, they have AI engine and they have a certain philosophy that don't try to make everything too smart. So Toyota, if you fall asleep, it puts you back on track kind of thing. But if you're okay, it doesn't do anything. Now, the computer has input like temper. And the reason I'm talking about Toyota because the guys came to Rice University in Houston and talked about this. The computer has an input like temperature of engine, speed, acceleration, time between gear change, amount of time to change a gear. So it knows what you can do and it knows what's happening to you right now. And then they said, how could you use Vertex to alert when the engine is able to brake? That's kind of a distractor. Vertex is AI on Google. And what they really want to know is how can you use AI? And the problem is not trivial at all. But that's what makes it fun. Okay, let's see. Do we have any suggested answers? All right. Unfair because I already have my answers, I know. Okay. You mentioned the cast monitor keeps the student engaged. Anyone using Toyota style sleeping driver detection to have AI detect how engaging a class is to each individual student and collectively as well. So I think what you are talking about is can you use this AI to see are the students engaged in training? And that's a great question. I saw different training platforms, and one of them says, this is where you watch if the student is engaged. And I became very nervous. So now everybody knows am I engaged at all? Okay, but there is no good measure so far. The most interesting attempt in training with AI is, of course, what is the name of it? AI, I forgot the name right now. Everybody has their brand, but there is one tutor that's very smart and that's worldwide, and they have multiple courses, and they don't give the student the answer. The student says, well, tell me the answer. And the AI says, no, I'm not allowed to give you the answer. However, what if we write that story together? And I'll start. He says, hey, here's the first line. You do the second. Now the student is engaged. Okay, Joel says, you would build a model based on those inputs to get an idea of failures. Attention, try predict what issues may arise. Yes, so you're saying build a model which would be showing what is normal and what is not normal, and try to detect the events. That's what you're meaning, right, Joe? Yes, great. I'll copy and paste, Khan Academy. That's what I forgot. Yeah. Socratic learning. That's wonderful. That you see, the only thing is that Joel's answer didn't go to everyone. So I'm copy pasting it and I am saying that goes to everyone. That's what Joel is saying. And I agree, and that's where you would try to find, does a particular cloud, Vertex AI, does it have the ability to, it comes to anomaly detection. So is there a model for anomaly detection? But I would want to add something. That's the general idea. But anomaly detections trained on data have that one problem, is that you need data to train on. And it's problematic. For example, if you want to train on the data from real world, you don't know if they recorded the right thing or no. They don't know, for example, yeah, there was a warning, but the monitoring or helping agent helped or didn't help. You're learning from what they really did. So one improvement of that idea is found right here. There's a company called Grid Gain, and they are, well, no, Grid Dynamics. They are about, I think, 500 people, 500 very smart consultants. They position themselves as, whenever Deloitte or Cognizant mess up, that's when we come in. And they have a wonderful blog. And I talked to them about that, and they didn't tell me what the secrets are. But here, they talk about anomaly detection. And their idea is going beyond just building a model that will tell you what's not normal. But instead, or in addition, they study, first of all, the process. They study and they bring in statistics and mathematics. So that's beyond what you can learn from the data. They first model the data mathematically with the human brain. They understand that. You see quite a lot of things, and they don't want to just give it away, but you can learn from the solutions that they have. That's what they do, and I would add that, okay? Now, sound has been diagnosing problems in the engines. Yes, I just don't think that that particular client is in the industry, in the auto industry. Anomaly detection using all the usual parameters would probably work, says Paul, at least to detect what's not normal. Yes, it probably would, but probably to make a good detector, you may add some brains and mathematics of that sort. That's what I wanted to show you. I'm closing that. And now that it's becoming fun, let's look at the second question. Imagine I own a movie theater and have a bunch of movies, titles, descriptions, and times they are playing. Okay, that is the standard situation. Also say that each of these movies, descriptions, and times are in a PDF. Okay, we're getting interested. Could I create a Q&A tool where I can ask questions like, I'm not sure of the name of the movie, but I'm looking to see a movie about a happy cat. What would you suggest? And all these about timings, that's probably just to distract us, or presume that it will also look up for a movie in the proper time. And then they hide by saying, can you do it in Vertex? But really their question is, how would I do it? Okay, I'm giving you a chance to answer. But I think that that is described pretty much as a ChatGPT problem, but give it the table of movies, and maybe it will figure it out. And then it won't, and you will have to debug it and help it. But it's not all that far from free that I was showing you, right? That is, by now, I'm showing it to people. It is a discovery or data discovery runs on a virtual machine, and I mean specific people, I mean lawyers, but anybody can use it, where you add your data. And that's a popular idea. You can build ChatGPT. Let's do it. Let's say go to ChatGPT. but you go to explore here. And can I build a ChatGPT that will also know about my data and have some additional instructions? That's where you would start. But you would continue. It wouldn't be all. You'll have to work with the timings, and if there are timings. And that's what Google advertised like 2 years ago, that let's imagine that you only remember something about the book. You can't quite express what you remember, but basically the plot. We'll find it for you. We'll find exactly that book in our books. So that is a problem that is more or less addressed. You would want more specific details. And thank you for the answers. Good. And last one. Imagine that I wanted a spam. I want to spam a social network. For that, they will put you into prison, right? With random advertisement to sell a product, a specific product, like a chicken sandwich. It's interesting. It mentions chicken sandwich. We'll come to that. How can I use Vertex AI? Since we're running out of time, I'm going right into the discussion of the answer. I'm sure that Vertex AI will flatly refuse. And like all ChatGPT models, they will say, sorry, cannot help you with that. It's kind of, can you help me hack it? Just to see what it says with them. I can help you with any hacking activities, and besides that violates the law. That's what you would expect. True. So my answer includes, I heard it somewhere. I heard a wonderful lecture about security. That's right here. That's the lecture about how you hack AI. And he does mention interesting exploits that already happened. One of them is poisoning the source. You somehow insert the bad pages, but ChatGPT, when it goes around and crawls the web, it doesn't know. It doesn't have that great of the protection, good or bad. So it might get poisoned and then serve this advertisement just as you ask your questions. So the example that he brings there is you're asking ChatGPT something, and he says, yes, before I tell you what it is, there is a sale going on chicken. There was mentioned a chicken. So he does mention, nobody will tell you how to really do it, but in security lectures, they tell you how they did it. So that's what you need. The second thing that you need is realize that whatever happened will not happen again. They closed these holes. So you cannot learn exactly the holes, not exactly how to hack that, but you can only learn how to do it, and then it's up to you to invent new hacks. One way will be probably hire a Russian hacker, but that already goes. And he will teach you. That already go, not me, right? But my competitors long time ago. But that already goes too far, and that is, I think, all that we wanted to do. So I'll stop share and wait a little bit for maybe questions. Okay, for the next one, I think we will continue and finish up the lab in Amazon. Well, let's do it. We can do the same things without Amazon, but why not play with it some more? So that is what it is, and maybe do a previous lab. Previous lab was already mentioned. on the previous session, it was Pinecone capabilities, and it was level about Pinecone, but we didn't quite run it. So maybe these two, we'll see. All right, everybody, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Thank you, Olga. Thank you, Paul, and everybody else. There will be a recording, so you will be able to send it to your friends or to watch it yourself. Yes, and especially if you start and you were answering and asking questions, then you can send it to your friends. Look, I told them what has to be done. So thank you very much and be well.